was a tiny gray sparrow huddled close to the glass. It looked sad and kept tapping its beak gently against the window. Clara knew the bird was hungry. All the seeds and berries were sealed beneath layers of ice. She quickly found her small supply of winter seeds and threw a handful onto the sill outside. The sparrow, however, didn't eat. It just kept tapping its beak, and then it would tilt its head and look back toward the windows, toward the woods, as if trying to point out something. Clara looked where the bird was pointing, out toward the deepest, darkest line of pine trees. She wondered if the little bird was trying to tell her something was wrong, or if it was just too weak to eat. And that is the end of chapter 1. Let's start chapter 2. The Path of the Ribbon. Clara wrapped herself in her thickest wool coat and stepped out into the biting cold. The snow was untouched, except for her small path to the woodshed. She looked at the sparrow, who had now flown onto a low branch and was still watching her. "What is it, my little friend?" Clara murmured. She started walking toward the edge of the woods, pushing through the deep, powdery snow. It was silent, beautiful, and utterly cold. After walking a short distance, she saw something bright red lying half buried in the white snow. It was a small silk ribbon. She picked it up. It felt cold but familiar. She knew that color. It was the exact shade of ribbon used by Mrs. Cable, the sweet old woman who lived in the secluded cabin a mile deeper into the woods. Mrs. Cable used those ribbons to tie up the holiday cookies she made every year. Clara looked back at the sparrow, which was now flying short distances, leading her further along the path. She realized the bird hadn't been hungry. It was a guide. It was leading her along the path where Mrs. Cable must have dropped the ribbon. Clara followed the small tracks and the sporadic red ribbon pieces. The path led her to a small hidden stream that was now mostly frozen. But where the ice had cracked, leaving open water. Right outside the stream, right beside the stream, she found Mrs. Cable's. Mrs. Cable hadn't fallen, but she was stuck. She had been collecting fresh pine cones for her fireplace, but had twisted her ankle in the deep snow and couldn't stand up. She was shivering badly. And that is the end of chapter 2. Looks like the bird was just trying to get Clara to help Mrs. Cable. And as we all are probably guessing, chapter 3, Clara helps Mrs. Cable, right? Okay, let's start chapter 3. Light and warmth. Clara quickly helped Mrs. Cable. She used her own heavy coat to wrap around the older woman and then with slow, careful effort help windowsill, finally eating the seeds she had left earlier. Clara spent the afternoon tending to Mrs. Cable's ankle and talking quietly about the strange, beautiful silence of the snow. As evening fell, Clara lit her newest batch of pine-scented candles, the room filled with soft warm light and a gentle cozy aroma. Mrs. Cable, now warm and comfortable, reached out and touched Clara's hand. "You didn't just save me, dear. You brought light back into my world." Clara knew that the best light in the whole world was not the bright flame of a candle, but comforting, the quiet, comforting feeling of helping a neighbor on a cold, quiet day. She looked at the snow glow of her candles and the happy little sparrow outside. It was the coziest, warmest evening the silent woods had ever seen.